All right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be diving into a PDF called 80 Ways to Make Money from Home. It's packed with ideas for generating income outside the traditional 9 to 5.
Yeah, it's an interesting document for sure, but 80 is a lot to process, so we're going to try to help you make sense of it all.
Yeah, that's our mission here. We want to highlight the key categories and specific examples, even dive into potential income ranges.
Right, help you cut through the clutter and find some real gems.
Yeah, think of us as your guides through this jungle of work-from-home opportunities.
Exactly.
Now, the document starts off by teasing this idea of building a 7-figure online business.
Yeah, the big bucks.
Which sounds amazing, but let's be honest, is that really realistic for most people?
Well, those figures definitely grab your attention, but they often represent the top earners in a field, not the average person's experience. Building a successful business, online or offline, takes time, strategy, and frankly, a little bit of luck.
Right, so let's get real here.
Yeah.
What are the chances of becoming the next online millionaire?
It's possible, sure, but it's not something that happens overnight. And honestly, for most people, focusing on those smaller, more achievable goals is a much better approach.
So let's break down this PDF a little bit more realistically. They group these 80 ideas into broader categories.
Right. Makes it a little more digestible.
Yeah. We have the online hustle category, which includes things like taking online surveys, doing micro tasks, and testing websites.
Yeah. Remember that old get paid to surf the internet idea?
Oh yeah, the stuff of dreams. But does that actually exist anymore?
It does, to an extent. The PDF mentions platforms like Swagbucks and Nielsen Digital, where you can earn points or rewards for completing tasks online.
So you're basically getting paid for stuff you might already be doing anyway, like browsing websites or watching videos.
Exactly. But it's important to note that the income potential for these online hustles is usually pretty low. It's not going to replace your day job.
Okay, so maybe not a path to riches, but could be a fun way to earn a little extra cash.
Right. It's a trade-off. Low effort, low reward.
Got it. Then we have the digital skills category, which is where freelancing, virtual assisting, graphic design, and social media management come in. And these can actually be pretty lucrative, right?
They can. The source even mentions potential incomes of over $100,000 a year for experienced freelancers and virtual assistants.
Okay, so that's a big jump from those online hustle earnings. What makes the difference?
Well, with these digital skills, you're often leveraging specialized knowledge or expertise, and you're building a client base that values those skills. So it's not just about clicking a few buttons online, it's about having a real skill set that you can market.
Right, it's about providing a valuable service.
So is it fair to say that you need more than just basic computer skills to succeed in this category?
Definitely. It's about building a strong portfolio, showcasing your expertise, and attracting clients who are willing to pay for your skills.
It's about professionalism, building a brand, and knowing how to market yourself.
Exactly. You have to treat it like a real business.
So not just a hobby, it's a career path.
Right. And it takes work. What about creative ventures? This one sounds fun. The PDF mentions things like designing and selling t-shirts, crafting, creating printables, writing ebooks, even launching podcasts as examples.
It's all about tapping into your creativity and finding ways to monetize it.
Okay, so if you've got a knack for crafting or a way with words, this category might be worth exploring.
The example of selling calligraphy services on Etsy caught my eye. It shows that even those seemingly niche skills can find a market online.
So there's hope for us artsy folks. But what if you're more of a left brain type? The source also mentions specialized services.
Right. That includes fields like medical coding and billing, tutoring, and translation.
These sound like they require specific training and certifications.
They often do. And it's worth noting that this category often represents a transition from a side hustle to a full-time job. You're not just making a few extra bucks, you're building a career.
Right, so it's about taking your existing skills and adapting them to the online world.
Exactly. And the demand for remote work in these fields is growing, so it's a good time to be exploring those options.
Okay, so there's potential there. What about actually working from home, like having a business based in your house?
Ah, yes. The home-based businesses category.
That's right. Daycare, pet care, even running a mini salon or giving music lessons from home.
This category really blurs the lines between work from home and home as the workplace. It might involve more logistical considerations like licensing and insurance, depending on the type of business.
Right. You might need to think about zoning regulations and all that fun stuff.
Exactly.
Then there's the sharing economy, where you're basically renting out your belongings, cars, driveways, clothes, you name it.
Yeah, platforms like Turo and Getaround are popular for car rentals. It seems like a pretty low-effort way to generate some passive income.
It does, but I'd imagine there are risks involved.
Of course. For instance, if you're renting out your car, you need to factor in insurance, maintenance, and potential damage.
Right, so it's not entirely set it and forget it. You have to be mindful.
You do.
Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Finally, we have savvy savings and side income. This one sounds more like smart money management than traditional work.
It does. This category includes things like negotiating lower bills, getting bank bonuses, and selling those unused gift cards we all have lying around.
Okay, so not a job in the traditional sense, but still a way to boost your income.
Exactly. It's about being resourceful and squeezing every bit of value out of your finances.
Right, making your money work for you. Now, this PDF doesn't just list these categories. It also dives into specific examples, which I found super helpful.
Yeah, those are the real eye-openers.
They mentioned this website called usertesting.com, where you can make, get this, $10 just for recording a 20-minute video while testing a website.
It sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you basically just share your thoughts as you navigate a website and give them feedback. Seems like an easy way to earn a little extra cash.
It does. And for those who enjoy giving feedback, it could be quite fun.
Then there's this amazing story about someone who turned their driveway into a boot camp business. I mean, how creative is that?
That one really speaks to the entrepreneurial spirit that a lot of these work-from-home opportunities require. It's about seeing a need, leveraging your resources, and making it happen.
Yeah, thinking outside the box and finding ways to monetize your passions or your space. And then there's the example that honestly made me laugh out loud, selling your junk mail to the get-out-of-debt guy. I mean, who knew those unwanted credit card offers could be worth something?
That's hilarious. I love that someone found a way to turn trash into treasure. It really highlights the surprising ways people are finding to make money these days.
Right, like sometimes those most unexpected things can have value in the right context.
Yeah.
It's all about finding the right buyer.
Exactly. And thankfully, this PDF provides a bunch of resources that can help you connect with those buyers.
Yeah, they list a bunch of platforms and tools that can be really valuable for anyone looking to start a work-from-home venture.
Right. You're not starting from scratch. There's already a whole ecosystem out there to support you.
So for those interested in trying out those online hustles we talked about, there are platforms like Survey Junkie, Swagbucks, and User Testing.
And for creative types, there's Etsy for selling crafts and printables, Udemy for launching online courses, and Bluehost for starting a blog.
They even mentioned Amazon Mechanical Turk, which, to be honest, I don't really understand. What exactly are microtasks?
Microtasks are basically small, discrete tasks that can be completed online. Think things like data entry, image tagging, transcription, or even just participating in short surveys. And Amazon Mechanical Turk connects businesses with individuals who are willing to complete these tasks for a small fee.
Okay, so it's like breaking down big projects into tiny, bite-sized pieces that people can do from anywhere.
Exactly. And while the pay for each individual task might be small, it can add up over time, especially if you're efficient and can complete a lot of them quickly.
So it's another potential option for those looking to earn some extra cash online. The source also lists platforms like Turo and Getaround for car rentals, Clarity.fm for those who want to offer consulting services, and Shopify for something called drop shipping.
Ah, yes, drop shipping. That's a popular one these days. It's essentially a business model where you sell products online without actually holding any inventory. You partner with a supplier who handles the storage and shipping, and you act as the middleman, taking orders and processing payments.
So you're like a virtual storefront.
Exactly. And Shopify is a popular platform for setting up and managing dropshipping businesses.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there, but it sounds like another potential avenue for those who are entrepreneurial and tech savvy.
It is.
Now, we've talked about all these different ways to make money from home, but one thing that keeps popping up in this PDF is income potential. And those figures vary wildly. Like, we see everything from a few bucks a month to, those ambitious six figures.
Yeah, it's a wide range for sure. And it's important to remember that income is influenced by a lot of factors. The opportunity itself, your skills and experience, the effort you put in, even your location.
Right. So it's not just about picking the right opportunity. It's about finding what fits your skill set and your goals.
And your lifestyle. Some of these opportunities require a lot more time and energy than others. You have to decide what trade-offs you're willing to make.
Right. It's about finding that balance between earning potential and how you want to spend your time. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from quick online hustles to building full-blown businesses. But let's dive a little deeper into some of the potential challenges and pitfalls of working from home. What are some things people should watch out for?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes people make is underestimating the time and effort involved. Building a successful work-from-home venture, whether it's a side hustle or a full-time gig, takes dedication and perseverance. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right. It's about putting in the work and being patient.
Exactly. And it's also crucial to treat it like a real job. Just because you're working in your pajamas doesn't mean you can slack off or be unprofessional.
Right. You still have deadlines to meet, clients to communicate with, and a reputation to uphold.
Exactly. Professionalism is key, even if your office is your kitchen table.
And I'd imagine it's easy to get distracted when you're working from home, especially if you're surrounded by, laundry that needs to be done or dishes piling up in the sink.
Absolutely. The line between work life and personal life can get very blurred, so it's essential to set boundaries, create a dedicated workspace if possible, and stick to a schedule.
Yeah. Otherwise, work can easily take over your whole life, and that's not healthy. And what about the whole isolation factor? I imagine working from home can get pretty lonely, especially if you're used to being around colleagues.
It can. And it's important to be proactive about combating that isolation. Make an effort to connect with other remote workers, join online communities, or even just schedule regular coffee dates with friends or family. Human connection is essential for well-being, regardless of where you work.
Right. It's about finding ways to stay connected and maintain those social interactions.
Exactly. And another potential challenge is the variability of income. With many of these work-from-home opportunities, you're not guaranteed a steady paycheck. You might have one month where you're rolling in dough and the next month where you're struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, that feast or famine cycle can be tough to manage.
It can, and it's why having a solid financial plan is crucial.
Right, being smart about budgeting and saving for those lean times.
Exactly. And another potential pitfall is neglecting to invest in yourself. In the remote work world, it's more important than ever to continuously learn and develop your skills.
It's like that saying, invest in yourself, it pays the best interest.
Exactly. Whether it's taking online courses, attending industry events, or just staying up to date on the latest trends, you need to constantly be learning and growing to stay competitive.
So it's about being proactive and taking ownership of your professional development. What about the whole marketing piece? I imagine that's a big challenge for anyone who's freelancing or running their own business from home.
It is. You need to be able to effectively market yourself, your skills, and your services. It's not enough to just be good at what you do. You have to let people know you exist.
Right, you have to build a brand and get your name out there.
Exactly. And that often requires creating a website, building a social media presence, and networking with potential clients.
So it's not just about doing the work, it's about getting yourself seen and making those connections.
Right.
Okay, so we've got the upsides and downsides of working from home, but what about some of the broader trends shaping the future of remote work? I mean, this landscape is constantly evolving.
It is. And one of the most significant trends is the growing acceptance of remote work by companies and organizations. It's no longer this fringe concept. It's becoming increasingly mainstream.
And it's like the pandemic really accelerated that shift, forcing companies to embrace remote work out of necessity. And now that they've seen the benefits, many are choosing to stick with it.
Exactly. And this trend is likely to continue. Remote work offers companies advantages like increased productivity, lower overhead costs, and access to a wider talent pool. So from a business perspective, it makes sense.
And from an employee perspective, it offers flexibility, autonomy, and often a better work-life balance. So it's like a win-win.
It can be.
So for those who are considering or already pursuing work-from-home opportunities, is it fair to say that this is a good time to be jumping into this market?
I think so. The job market for remote work is expanding rapidly. There are more remote job openings than ever before, and that number is only going to continue to grow.
That's exciting to hear. And what about those online platforms we discussed earlier, like Etsy, Udemy, Fiverr, and Upwork? Are those still growing as well?
Absolutely. These platforms are thriving, and they're constantly evolving to meet the needs of both remote workers and clients. They're creating a global marketplace where people can connect and collaborate from anywhere in the world.
So it's like the gig economy on steroids.
In a way, yes. And this trend is just going to accelerate as technology continues to advance and more people embrace the possibilities of remote work.
So the future looks bright for remote workers.
It does. But as with any rapidly evolving landscape, it's important to stay adaptable, embrace continuous learning, and be willing to experiment to find what works best for you.
So it's about being proactive and constantly upping your game.
Right?
Now, I'm curious, within these 80 different ways to make money from home, are there any specific areas that really jumped out at you as particularly interesting or promising?
Well, one thing that caught my eye was the potential for building a successful online business around a passion or hobby, like that calligraphy example we talked about earlier. It's amazing how the internet allows you to connect with a niche audience who share your interests. And if you can monetize that passion, you're essentially getting paid to do what you love.
Yeah, like turning your hobby into a career. That's the dream. And it's not just limited to creative pursuits, right? You could also build a consulting or coaching business online, leveraging your existing skills and experience.
Exactly, like offering financial advice on Clarity.fm or teaching a course on Udemy about your area of expertise. The possibilities really are endless.
So it's about identifying your strengths, finding your niche, and building a business around it. And thankfully, there are resources out there to help you every step of the way.
Exactly. The PDF mentions platforms like Shopify for building online stores, Teachable for creating courses, and ConvertKit for email marketing. It's like a whole ecosystem for online entrepreneurs.
So if you've got the drive and the dedication, the tools are out there to help you succeed. Another area that I found really intriguing was the potential for using technology to generate passive income.
Ah, yes, passive income, earning money while you sleep. The dream.
It does sound pretty ideal. Tell me more.
Well, the PDF talks about things like renting out your car on Turo, your driveway on Neighbor, or even your clothes on Loanables. It's all about leveraging those underutilized assets you already have.
The sharing economy really is making it easier than ever to make money from the things you own. But I'd imagine there are some risks and downsides to consider as well.
Of course, there's no such thing as a completely risk-free investment. For example, if you're renting out your car, you need to make sure you have adequate insurance coverage. And you have to be prepared to deal with potential wear and tear on your vehicle.
Right, so it's not entirely hands-off. You still need to be involved and manage those risks. What about generating passive income through digital products? The PDF mentions ebooks, online courses, and those printable designs we talked about earlier.
Ah, yes, digital products. Those are great because you create them once and then can sell them over and over again without having to deal with inventory or shipping. And platforms like Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing and Etsy make it really easy to reach a global audience.
So whether you're a writer, a designer, a teacher, or a coach, there's potential to create digital products that can generate passive income over time.
Exactly. And the best part is you can create these products in your pajamas on your own time.
So we've got options for everyone, from quick side hustles to launching full-blown online businesses and everything in between. And it seems like the opportunities are just going to continue to grow as the world of work evolves.
They are. And this PDF, while not exhaustive, gives us a great starting point for exploring those possibilities.
It's like a buffet of work-from-home ideas.
Exactly.
But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the key message you want our listeners to take away?
I think the most important takeaway is that success in the remote work world requires more than just a good idea. You need to have a solid plan, be willing to put in the work, and be adaptable and persistent in the face of challenges.
So it's not a magic bullet. It's about being strategic and having the right mindset.
Exactly. And it's about being proactive and constantly learning and growing.
So embrace those challenges and remember that the possibilities are out there. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about those 7-figure online business claims we discussed earlier. What does it really take to reach that level of success?
Well, let's break it down and explore some real-world examples. So those 7-figure online businesses, they definitely get your attention, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's hard not to get caught up in those big numbers. But let's be realistic here. What does it actually take to reach that level of success online?
Well, it's definitely more than just working hard. I mean, hard work is essential, of course, but it's often about creating products or services with mass appeal.
So it's not just about being good at something. It's about being good at something that a lot of people want.
Exactly. It's about solving a problem for a large number of people or tapping into a significant market need. It's finding that sweet spot where your skills meet a widespread demand.
Okay, so it's about finding a product or service that has the potential to scale. to reach a large audience. But what else comes into play? I mean, are we talking marketing, branding, hiring employees?
All of that, yeah. Reaching seven figures usually involves building a recognizable brand, cultivating a loyal customer base, and figuring out how to scale your operations effectively.
Right, so it's not just about you and your laptop anymore. You might need to bring in other people, invest in marketing, and constantly innovate to stay ahead of the competition.
Exactly. It's a whole different ballgame than a side hustle where you're the sole operator. So while that seven-figure goal is definitely inspiring, it's crucial to understand the level of commitment and strategic planning involved. It's not something that happens overnight.
Right, it's about setting realistic expectations and understanding that building a successful online business takes time, effort, and a lot of strategic decision-making. Now, this PDF, while focused on making money from home, it also hints at the lifestyle changes these opportunities could bring. It's not just about the income, is it?
No, it's not just about the money. It's about the freedom and flexibility that come with it. Imagine setting your own hours, working from anywhere with an internet connection, and having more time for the things you truly value.
Sounds pretty idyllic, right? Like trading that soul-crushing commute for a morning yoga session or being able to pick up your kids from school every day.
Exactly. But this flexibility comes with its own set of challenges. You need to be self-disciplined and create a structure that works for you.
Otherwise, the line between work and life can get pretty blurred, right? Working all the time, or you get distracted by household chores and never get anything done.
Exactly. Maintaining boundaries and a healthy work-life balance is key to making this whole work-from-home thing sustainable and enjoyable.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're productive and fulfilled, but not burning yourself out. Okay, so while this document paints a pretty rosy picture of making money from home, we've also uncovered potential challenges and pitfalls. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key message you want our listener to walk away with?
I want them to remember that the landscape of work is changing, and remote work is not a fad. It's becoming increasingly integrated into the fabric of how we work and how we live.
It's creating new opportunities for people to design work lives that fit their individual needs and aspirations. But this new landscape also requires a shift in mindset, right?
Exactly. Success in the remote work world demands self-motivation, adaptability, and a willingness to constantly learn and evolve.
It's about taking ownership of your career path, whether you're seeking supplemental income, a full-time career change, or the freedom to build your own business. The possibilities are out there. And this PDF, with its 80 diverse ideas, serves as a great starting point for exploring those possibilities. But as we've discussed, it's essential to approach it with a realistic mindset, a solid plan, and a willingness to embrace the challenges that come with charting your own course.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You have to figure out what works best for you, your skills, and your goals.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, let's encourage our listeners to think beyond the specific ideas presented in this PDF and consider the bigger picture. What kind of lifestyle do they want to create? What are their goals and aspirations? How can these work-from-home opportunities help them get there?
The possibilities truly are endless, but it all starts with taking that first step, doing your research, and finding what resonates with you.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone. There's a whole community of resources and like-minded individuals out there ready to support you on your journey. So go forth, explore, experiment, and most importantly, don't be afraid to dream big. It's been a journey, hasn't it? Going through all these 80 different ways to make money from home.
It really has. We've talked about everything from, like you said, quick online hustles to building these full-blown businesses.
Even those seven-figure online business dreams, the ones that the PDF kind of highlights, right?
Yeah, and it's important to remember that while those figures do represent a real possibility for some, it's not the norm. It's not like everyone who starts an online business is going to become a millionaire.
So what sets those high earners apart then? What are they doing differently?
Well, a lot of times it comes down to, like we talked about earlier, identifying a product or service that has mass market appeal. Something that solves a problem for a huge number of people.
Right. It's not just about having a great idea. It's about finding an idea that really resonates with a large audience and has that potential to scale.
Exactly. And it's also about building a brand that people trust and recognize. Building a loyal customer base and figuring out how to, manage and grow your operations effectively.
Okay, so we're talking about going beyond being a solopreneur. Like you said, potentially hiring employees, investing in marketing, and constantly innovating to stay ahead of the curve.
It's a whole other level of commitment for sure.
So while those seven-figure dreams can be inspiring, It's important to have a realistic understanding of what it actually takes.
Absolutely. And remember, success isn't solely measured by financial gain. We've talked a lot about the potential for lifestyle changes with working from home, and for a lot of people, that's the real draw.
Yeah, like having that flexibility to set your own hours, working from anywhere, and just having more control over your time. That's huge.
It is, but it's important to approach this flexibility with responsibility. You need to be self-disciplined and create a structure that actually works for you and prevents burnout.
Right, you need to set those boundaries between work life and personal life. Otherwise, it's easy to get overwhelmed and end up sacrificing your well-being.
Exactly. Finding that balance is key to making this lifestyle sustainable and truly enjoyable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into 80 ways to make money from home, I think the biggest takeaway is that the landscape of work is changing. And this PDF, well, just a starting point, really opens our eyes to those possibilities.
It does, and it highlights the potential for individuals to take ownership of their careers and create work lives that fit their own unique needs and aspirations. But it also, like we've discussed, demands a shift in mindset. You have to be adaptable, self-motivated, and always willing to keep learning and growing.
It's about embracing that challenge, forging your own path, and really seeing the possibilities that exist beyond the traditional 9 to 5. So to our listeners, explore those possibilities, find what excites you, and take that first step towards building that work-from-home life you envision.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey. There are tons of resources, communities, and even mentors out there who are ready to support you every step of the way.
So don't be afraid to reach out, ask those questions, and learn from others who have already walked this path. And most importantly,
Dream big.
dream big and believe in your ability to create that work life you desire. And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.